Nairobi City, ama tukipenda Kanairo. Manganya ukuwa zimeweza mbaya, shughuli za tao ukuwa mob, drama za huko hata usiseme. But I'm not going to talk about all that stuff. I'm going to focus on just a small part of this great city called Nairobi.
Naitwa Steven.
Kwa hivyo hujaienda?
Sijaienda. Mimi naitwa Michael Mwema.
Unajua Kenya Archives?
Yes, najua. Mimi naonanga niko wasomi na mimi si msomi. Ni mambo na history. Ile mambo ya zamani ama vitu vile za zamani kabisa zilikuwa zinaonekana zimehifadhiwa huko. Ni ukweli?
Ni ukweli.
Sasa nikipata chance ya kwenda huko tena nitaingia.
David Moses.
Unajua Kenya Archives?
Yeah. Sijaingia ndani.
Kwa nini?
Maybe sijui hivyo tu, but napitanga tu ama nipande gari from there.
Kuna any idea ni nini inaweza kuko ndani?
Hizi vitu za history sort of.
My name is Dickson Kariuki Karanja.
Unajua Kenya Archives?
Yeah. Hapana, sijaingia.
Bishtapo nadhani wameingia huko ndani?
I don't think so, but naweza wapeleka huko.
Ni chwani tuwezi kosa chwani.
25 flow we on a wave ka mix za dem akufu bila na bounce kwa hit track ukipenda hala chuchu jiwe mayoyo.
Unfortunately, watu wengi hawajaingia archives. So join me and Mr. Okumu as we show you around.
My names are Mr. Evans Chance Okumu. I'm a curator at the Kenya National Archives, particularly the Murubi Art Gallery. Kenya National Archives is a government institution. It was started purposely in 1965 under Public Archives and Documentation Service Act of 1965. At the start of independence, Joseph Murumbi was a very lucky person. He was one of the cabinet secretaries who appointed, actually was a diplomatic officer at the start of independence, and most of his work was to go and open Kenyan embassies around the world. That one is enough to explain to you that he was a person who traveled much. It's very easy to talk about Murumbi when we are seeing him because he was an African person. Actually, if you look at him from the photograph there, those are the photographs that corroborates with the things he did before he died in 1990 because of cancer. For example, you can be able to see that is Joseph Murumbi. He's adorning an African attire. That is not an American suit. There's African attire. That one tells you how he loved to bring Africans together and to adore African things. That is him, and all these photographs you see here talks about his lifetime. For example, when he was, this photograph you see, it's in the middle, it's adjacent to Jomo Kenyatta. The first person is the first Vice President, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, followed by Joseph Murumbi is there as Minister for Foreign Affairs, with Mzee Jomo Kenyatta as the President. The far end is Tom Mboya. The Mzungu is the wife of Joseph Murumbi. She's called Sheila Murumbi. She's a German lady. She was also interested in collecting stamps and participating in heritage. Actually, they married people who understand each other and they love doing the same thing the same time. So you can see the lady in the middle is having a mayor's chain. That one is the sister of Uhuru Kenyatta from the first wife of Jomo Kenyatta. So she's called Miss Margaret Kenyatta. She was the mayor of Nairobi in 70s. Her work was to collect revenue. Far end are now the Pan-Africanists. The Mzungu you see there is called Alan Donovan. He also died some few months ago. He was a co-collector with Joseph Murumbi and also a Pan-Africanist. He's the one who heads the African Heritage House along Mombasa Way. The far end is now Joseph Murumbi himself. And I've told you this gallery is named after him. The rich artifacts that you can see inside the Murumbi Art Gallery, they mean a lot to different people. And Murumbi himself sold these artifacts to the Kenyan government. But he did not only sell the artifacts, he also had got collection of books, of which if you go to our library, you are going to find his corner. His corner is called Murumbi Africana Collection, which means if research takes you to some of his books, then the books are retrieved and brought for references. So all that combined is what shows that is the pioneer. Murumbi is the one who started the archival idea. Once documents enters the archives, they stop from being called private. They become public immediately. These artifacts cannot be sold because they are priceless. It is only one copy, a book of one copy, and actually we cannot be able to destroy these artifacts and go and get another one from maybe China. It will defeat the meaning why we are keeping these things for heritage. The person who was in charge, who was very vocal in transformation on environment, Mazingira Bora, was Professor Wangari Maathai. This lady can inspire. Whatever she did definitely can be able to transform this country, and that's why she also won the Nobel Peace Prize of 2004. All these honors she got because of her fighting to make sure the world looks better for posterity. These attires are there to hide the scars she found when she was struggling to save the country from land grabbers. We keep whatever she used to do to be able to inspire a generation so that we can see how can we be able to preserve environment. This board that you see here, this is the third president of the Republic of Kenya. The first president was Jomo Kenyatta, followed by Moi, and this is now Kibaki. He is here because funeral falls under heritage. He only served for 10 years, but he did a lot. Mwai Kibaki is an economist. He did economist in Uganda, and that's how he did all. So he's an educated president and a president who was having a lot of leadership skills.
Tushangilie Kenya, taifa letu tukufu, Kenya tunayoipenda, Kenya nchi tunayoipenda.
Twajivunia sana tukijiita wa Kenya, nchi yenye baraka. Kenya nchi yenye baraka. Tumekomboa Kenya, taifa letu tukufu, tumebadili mwendo.
These stamps you see here up to there, they were collected by the wife of Joseph Murumbi, Sheila Murumbi. So the person who collected these stamps anaitwa Sheila Murumbi. She's the wife of Joseph Murumbi. Sawa sawa. The stamp has got 4 components. The stamp has got the image, the stamp has got the price, isn't it? The denomination. The stamp has got the origin of the country where the letters come from, isn't it? So they were using stamp, apart from communication, they were using stamp also to promote the country, to market the country in terms of tourism, isn't it? Zamani ukiandika barua hakuna emoji. Unajua emoji? Those feelings. Oh yes. So these stamps actually, they belong to African stamps. And that's why I say if you want to understand the history of Africa, you go directly to the stamps. The stamp is a way of keeping information. And these ones, they were done on stamps because you can see now these are long ears down the lane, but the stamps are still intact with proper information.
Wenye inchi
These artifacts was done by Nagenda of Uganda. When you see a sculpture like this one talks about the human dignity. This is the speech of Joseph Murumbi on the occasion of the African Heritage. This is the speech that he read when he was opening the gallery in 1973. This one is a human. You can see there's a face there's a tongue, there's an eye, there are limbs. It's a structure of a mammal. This other one here, you can see Murumbi is also posing with the people who were the artists, which means he has got these Ugandan artifacts. Murumbi really had them at heart. You can see already his photograph here, but this one is a strong person in the society. Eli Keyune of Uganda is the one who did this. Women in Uganda.
Nairobi, tuko rada, kauna bifa hopni ya bama hitu ninatuleta pamoja, chama, tupate mitatu na zama, ama, eo ni kama, tumewateko Kampala na Jadaman, enai, tunaweza Robi, tunatesa, ata mayu wako yama. Ain't no city like my city, oh no. Nairobi, they can do it like we do it in the 254. Nairobi, my hustler, my damn suku, nobody to buru. I love my city, oh yes I do. Nairobi, my hustler, my damn suku, nobody to buru. I love my city, oh yes I do.
Nairobi, tumelokit kibobo, kadunga mosquito, sio shocking things bobo. Lokit kibobo, no shocking things bobo.